What is up, everyone? JD here. I hope you're all doing well out there today. Today, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different, and I'm very excited to kind of go over these knives with you and compare them. So I'm doing a little bit of another versus video here. If you saw a couple weeks back, I did that in the budget realm. Today, it's going to be focused on the budget titanium offering and what you can find out there that is very affordable and very attainable, so meaning that it is plentiful. You can find these knives out there as of the making of this video. So what we have here is the titanium offering from Ontario, the TI-22 Ultra Blue, and the QSP Penguin in titanium. So both of these knives are frame lock titanium offerings. Both are made in China. I don't know if you can see that, but I'll try my best to get a close-up of these two knives. So right off the bat, just again, the house cleaning of the manufacturing and country of origin, that is out of the way. And from a score perspective, it's a wash. I'm not even going to score the two of these in that regard. So let's start with price. The titanium TI-22 from Ontario, in the only color that you can pick this up in, is going to be, can be had for $50. So being that that is in the budget realm of pocket knives that you can pick up for $50, that is going to be a 3 for me. That is really good value for a titanium frame lock knife. So we're just going off of price here. We're not yet into what you're getting outside of the titanium frame lock. Now, the QSP Penguin is another titanium frame lock that you can pick up for under $100. And again, that is still exceptional value when we, in a little bit, will get into what is being offered at that price point. Now, the next thing that I wanted to get into is the fact that the frames are titanium and very well done titanium. The QSP is 2 solid slabs of titanium, and the Ontario also 2 solid slabs of titanium being offered here at these price points. So I'm giving them both a 3 for the fact that for under $100, and in this case under $50, you're getting titanium on your frame material that is very well done. The coating is very nice, very well done. It is tumbled on the QSP and anodized on the Ultra Blue from Ontario, and both offer exceptionally good grippiness considering that it's just flat. There's no additional work being done here, but the coating and the finishing on them very tactful, and it does give a lot of confidence in the hand, and I was very impressed by that. Now, the lock mechanism for both of these are frame locks, which I think are very well done. Frame locks are not necessarily my favorite on such a small knife because I do have really big hands, and you do have to kind of be mindful and adjust your hand position for that titanium locking system being a frame lock. So for that, I give them both a 2 because I do like the frame lock from a grip perspective with the knife deployed, being that, you know, it's just a little bit extra confidence inspiring that your fingers kind of pushing against that lock and preventing it, but you're not really using these 2 office carries or these gentleman light duty EDC carry knives for heavy duty work. At least I hope not. I don't believe that was the intention for these knives. I don't think they were meant for extreme hard use. They're more of a medium duty, I will say, pocket knife. They're going to perform really well. They're going to cut your boxes down, open your packages, you know, cut some rope string, all that stuff they're going to do. Now, let's get into the knife steel, and we're going to start with the Ontario, and this is why I feel like Ontario can offer this particular knife at $50. And hopefully you can see here, it is an AUS 8 steel, which is not a really strong steel offering in the market today. I think that if they would have gone with D2 like they do on their Ontario rat lineups, the rat 1 and rat 2, if they would have put D2 on here, and even if they would have charged $60, $65, $70, $75 even, I think this would probably be a bit more of a popular option. I just think that AUS 8 doesn't hold an edge very well. It's not as tough and it's not as strong. Because they did go with the AUS 8, I am giving it a 1 because I feel like AUS 8 is just a really outdated, poor performing steel. And outside of using this to cut into some packages, do some light duty work around the office and such, I wouldn't go to this knife for much more than that. I don't even think I would really bother with using that to break down any cardboard boxes. It could, and don't get me wrong, it definitely could do so. You just need to maintenance that edge a little bit more. This is where I feel like QSP at that $100 price point really is a home run, because they are offering the 154 cm steel on this sheep's foot blade, which is a really solid budget steel. It performs really well. I like that steel a lot. I think it's a really great alternative for 14C, 28N, and D2. And again, at this price point, that is a really, really good steel offering. So I did give QSP a 3 in this category. Next, we're going to talk about, since we're at the blade, we're going to talk about the pivot. And both of these knives offer ball bearings in the pivot, which give it really, really good action, a really premium feel at this price point. And that is impressive, especially from Ontario for that $50 price point. And QSP, you know, the ball bearing is really nice because on the regular Penguin, the entry level, it is on copper washers, which has outstanding action. So they could have, for all intents and purposes, kept that. But the fact that they decided to upgrade to ball bearings to give that premium feel in the action, kudos to both companies. Both of the companies for me get a 3. From the blade shape, since we're still here talking about the blades, the Ontario, as you can see, has the Tonto, which right now is kind of a real popular choice. From a style perspective, I see a lot of folks out there going after like a Tonto paramilitary 2, the Elementum now being offered in Tonto. And from a user perspective, the Tonto is probably the hardest to maintain an edge on when it is a true Tonto and it does have 2 cutting surfaces. You want to make sure that you know what you're doing when you're sharpening this so that you don't round out the edge. I much prefer the sheep's foot in this instance, and for this particular category, this is probably coming down to personal preference. Drop points and clip points, probably my favorite from an EDC pocket knife, because it has the most diversity for applicable uses. And then the sheep's foot would definitely come in a close second. I feel like this is going to get a lot of work done. So for me, I gave the sheep's foot offering in this comparison a 3, and I gave the Tonto a 2. And again, that is personal preference. Now, from a length perspective, both are the 3-inch length, so I'm giving both of them a 1. Just because I feel like from an office carry perspective, when you get over that 3-inch length, because it's 3.03 inches for the blue, and it is 3.125 inches for the QSP. And I feel like from an office carry, gentleman carry, when you get over 3 inches and you limit your offering to certain states that don't allow you to carry that, it kind of hurts you a little bit. So I gave both of them a 1. For me, and the fact that I can carry here, I actually appreciate the extra length on there. I don't have that restriction, fortunately, but I felt like from an offering for folks that might be looking at this type of knife, depending on where they're at, that might be a little bit of a turn off. From a weight perspective, the Ontario actually comes in under 3 ounces. So it is 2.82 ounces, and it feels super duper lightweight. So I did give them a 3 for coming in under 3 ounces, which is that ultra lightweight carry for me. And then still at a very lightweight 3.07 ounces, considering that you get what looks like a bit more titanium because it is a thicker handle, and you get more blade because it is overall thicker than the Ontario. 3.07 ounces is still very impressive, but not as light as the Ontario. So I'm giving it a 2. Let's move on to carry. The QSP is right hand tip up only with a very tasteful milled pocket clip, but the Ontario is at least tip up, tip down, right hand only. So right hand tip up only gets a 1, and right hand tip up only, tip up, tip down only, I'm giving that a 2 because at least it gives you the option of doing tip up, tip down. From a pocket clip comparison, the Ontario offers a steel deep carry pocket clip, but they don't take it all the way up to the edge of the knife. They actually leave a little bit of the tip sticking out there. So the fact that it's steel and that it's not completely deep carry, even though it is a deep carry clip, because it does maximize, like it comes out over the screws and down, which is what you want from a deep carry pocket clip. But the fact that they left a little bit of that tip sticking out with it in the pocket, to me, only gives it a 2. And the pocket clip itself is a little bit of a hot spot. Kind of my gripe with some of the Elementums is this coming up and pointing up instead of maybe tapering down just a little bit gives it like that indentation where it kind of pokes into the palm of your hand. So that's another reason that this is only getting a 2, even though I do appreciate the deep carry factor. One other thing about this is it does, if you hold it just right, your middle finger will go into this particular spot, preventing that frame lock issue, and that really does help prevent you resting your hand on there. And you see I'm pushing, but because you see I'm pushing, right? Yeah, you can see that. You can see that detent, because my finger's on there, prevents the blade from coming out. So it does offer a resting spot for you to deploy, so I do appreciate that, but it's still a 2 for me. When it comes to QSP, even though this is not deep carrying, it does leave a little bit of the blade exposed. The fact that they offered a milled titanium pocket clip that looks really classy and tasteful, I went ahead and gave this one a 3. I don't think I need to offer any more explanation over that as to why I feel like that deserves the 3. But for me, I appreciate the fact that it's a more premium material, and the milled low profile keeps it really in close to the knife handle itself. From a deployment perspective, I really don't have a preference for either one. The flipper tab on the Ontario is done really well, and you can light switch it or you can push deploy. So I do appreciate that. So I gave it a 2 just because I don't think it's the best. I don't think it's the worst. I think it's a good deployment method for the budget pocket knife. The QSP offers thumb studs, although the thumb studs are a little bit tall, and I think that they just reuse the thumb studs that they have on their micarta variant, and their micarta variant has steel liners, and then on top of the steel liners, the micarta. So I feel like these need to sit up a little bit higher. I think thumb studs are probably one of my favorite deployment methods, and I normally probably would have given this a 3, but the fact that it sits up just a little bit taller than the blade handles themselves, instead of making new ones, because obviously they made a new frame, new material. The blade's a little bit thinner because it is on bearings instead of being on a washer, so they, for that tolerance, made it just a tiny bit thinner than they did the entry-level QSP. Why not just go ahead and knock down these thumb studs a little bit? I think if they do that, you can get down in here and you can deploy that just fine. So both of these are getting a 2 for the deployment method. Now, options. There is only one option as of the making of this video. They may come out and do some other anodized colors if this model sells well. Hopefully, and if they do come out with a D2 variant, I will pick that up in a heartbeat. I'm a little disappointed with the AUS 8. Again, it's not going to be a hard use, heavy hitting knife. From a medium duty perspective, I feel like it kind of starts to limit what I would want to use this knife for, because I just don't want to maintenance the edge, not the toughest steel out there. From QSP's perspective, you have coated and uncoated, and you have, at least that I can remember off the top of my head, a couple different color options. So QSP gets 3 points in the options category, whereas Ontario is only going to get 1 point. From a grind perspective, both knives offer a flat grind. They do not go the full length of the blade. So I'm giving both of them a 2 because I feel like that's a good EDC grind. It's going to keep everything thin and slicey for you, and still offer a little bit of toughness because of the fact that the top of the blade is thick, going to keep it from flexing. From a value perspective, I feel because Ontario was smart, knowing that they put OS 8 steel on this knife and that they are only offering it in one color, one style, one shape, they priced it at $50, so I'm giving it a 2. But that OS 8 did hold it back for me because at $50 you can go out there and get D2 steel knives. Not that they're offering titanium frame locks, and I did take that into consideration, but for me that OS 8 does hold it back a bit. From a value perspective, you're getting titanium, you're getting the option to have coated or uncoated, you're getting a couple color options with a titanium frame lock, titanium pocket clip that is on bearings. That is awesome. 154 cm steel, I really appreciate that. QSP making really smart choices out here. I gave it a 3. So in the end, when you add up the scores, the Ontario came out with 29 points total. The QSP came out with 33 points total. A very close battle of the budget titanium pocket knives. I feel like the QSP was the right choice for me in this review and this comparison video. What do you guys think? Which would you pick if it was your money that you were spending? If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Seriously, I appreciate all the support. Make sure you're subscribed. I will bring additional content and more videos like this in the future. If you have any questions about these knives that are reviewed today, leave them in the comments and I'll do my best to get to you, to get you some answers. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Peace.